Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for takeoff? Because we're reading around the world. Hi, my name is Lynn and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about Reading Around the World challenge. It's a challenge I started a while ago and I wanted to go over the books I already read and give you some recommendations and think about my TBR for the future. So let's get started right away. So with me I have my little reading journal. This one is from Sustreme Grana. I love the cover design and I just write my thoughts about books in it. I just started it, but I also do my Reading Around the World challenge. I keep note of the countries I've read from and the countries I want to read from, and let's go through the countries I've read from. I've read from 11 countries and I want to read around the whole globe, so I have a lot of countries to go. However, that's so exciting because that means I get to read so much more, and reading is my biggest hobby, so I love that. But let's start. I'm just going in alphabetical order because I love that. I love everything organized. So for America or the United States, I read a couple of books. I would say the most of the books I read are from there. So I have a couple of recommendations. The first one is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This is a short but nice, haunting story about a family of two sisters and their uncle that live in a little town, and the townspeople aren't very kind to their family, and I thought it was so creepy and unsettling, and I really liked her writing style because I don't like too creepy of a story, but this one was just creepy enough and unsettling enough and perfect for the October month. I think I read it last year, October, so that is my first recommendation. Then my next recommendation is, of course, The Great Gatsby. However, I think it's a little overrated. Maybe it's just me, but I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was so profound like many other people thought it was, and that's fine because everyone has their own opinion and their own taste. Next, for the United States, I'm reading The Secret History. Yes, I just started this yesterday. I dropped my book, so sad, but I love this so far. So this is my next recommendation. Let's go quickly to the next country, and that's Denmark. I read The Fir Tree by Hans Christian Andersen, I think, and I liked it. I love all their fairy tales. I grew up reading them and I love this one. It's about a fir tree. It's perfect for Christmas time and it's so short, so I would highly recommend that. Then the next one is England. I split up everything from the Great Britain and United Kingdom. So England. My favorite is by far Emma by Jane Austen. I have read 3 of her works and this one is my favorite. I love Emma so much. The main character is so funny to me. I had such a good time. Of course, we have many of other works from English authors. Middlemarch, for example, I haven't read that yet, but I would love to do so. I have this gorgeous penguin black spine edition, so I'm looking forward to reading that, but it's such a big book. But anything Jane Austen for England is perfect. We have Charlotte Bronte, we have Emily Bronte, we have Anne, we have so many other authors that are amazing to read from. We have Charles Dickens, so there are a lot of recommendations for you there. And then an author I read from last year that's also from England is Susanna Clarke, and she wrote Piranesi and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norell. I love Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norell. It's a very big book, but it's perfect for the autumn, so I would recommend that. The next country on my list that I read from is France. I read The Blavk Tulip by Dumas. I know he has some other big, well-known novels, but I just wanted to dip my toes in his writing style, and The Blavk Tulip was a short book, I think about 250 pages, and it's about the tulip obsession in Holland at that time, and it was partly historical fiction, but it was also about romance. I think it was really interesting. It's about this man, and he is so passionate about tulips. However, his neighbor is obsessed with winning the tulip prize, and he goes beyond measures to win that prize. It was really funny, and I've learned so much about Dutch history, so that was nice. Then I have another book recommendation. I haven't read this, but this is also for France, and this is Dangerous Liaisons. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but this is a book written through letters. It's about two friends, and they're having a scandal with a woman, and they're having kind of a battle into manipulating her. I don't know, it sounds fascinating, and it's written through letters, so I really like the concept. The next country I've read from is Hungary. I went on a trip to Budapest beginning this year, or in April, so I wanted to read from the country, and I read Journey by Moonlight by Antal Zerb. I think that's how you pronounce it. This book was so confusing. I don't know if I just didn't get it or if I wanted to push through it too quickly, but I just couldn't get really into it. I thought the main character was a little bit of weird. I couldn't really get into it. I had to take a break because I couldn't finish it, and picked it up some months later, and then I finished it. But it wasn't my favorite. So if you have any book recommendations for Hungary, I would love to get them, because I really want to reread for that country. The next country on my list is Ireland. I have two recommendations. They are both classics, and they're both very short. So that's very nice if you want to start out with classics, or if you want to read a classic but don't want to commit to like 500 pages. So the first one is Carmilla. It's about vampires, it's about two girls, it's sapphic. I thought it was very fun and perfect for the October spooky months. It was one of the first vampire stories, so I really liked that because I want to read more, and that way I just started with the beginning. The next book for Ireland is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I thought it was great. It wasn't my favorite, but it was well done. It was unsettling at times. It's about these three friends. Two friends and a painter, and one of the friends gets his portrait painted, and he starts to obsess over his beauty due to influence of his other friend. So it was really interesting to see that. The next country for my Reading Around the World challenge that I've read from is the Netherlands. I've read so many books in Dutch because I'm from the Netherlands. If you didn't already know, if you didn't notice about my accent. I read only, I think, 2 or 3 in the last year. So last year I read Hoe overleef ik by Francine Omen. She released a new book in the series. She wrote a series about Rosa, and I think that was when I was about 8 or 10, maybe 12 years, and now many years later she she started to publishing new books for that series, and now Rosa, the main character in the book, is grown up, so that was really nice. It felt like a full circle moment reading about Rosa as a grown-up. So I would recommend that book. I don't know if it's translated though. Maybe, perhaps. And another book I'm reading that's Dutch, and I don't know if this is translated either, is Waddenliefde. This is a series of 6 books, and it's about the Wadden Islands. And there are 6 of them, and what I love about them, each book follows a different person, follows a different trope. And each book, so there are 2 books in one book. So this is the first one, this is Tessel, and this is the, what is this called? Fir Tree? I don't know the word. So this is Tessel, and then you turn it around and you get the next island. This is Vlieland. And I really love the cover designs. I'm having a great time. This is a feel-good romance. Yes, I'm having a great time. She reminds me a bit of Emily Henry, Good Banter, and I love it so much. Tessel is my favorite of Wadden Island, and I don't want this book to end. I think about 100 pages. And I'm having a great time, so I don't want to end this. But this is another book I read for my Reading Around the World challenge. The next book on my list I want to talk about is for Norway. I got this recommendation from Emma from the channel Emmy, and she is obsessed with ice, with snow, with winter, with cold. And I adore the way she described this book. I really thought it was so interesting, so I had to see what it was about. And I mean, the cover is gorgeous. I fell in love with the cover. And I read this last year, I think in December, and I still think about it, and it was so poetic. The book is called The Ice Palace, and I love this cover, and it was written so poetic. You get this writing style of sometimes a poem or just short chapters or longer chapters. It's really different, and it's all about winter. The Ice Palace is about 2 girls and the Ice Palace in Norway, and until one of the girls get missing in the palace. And it's about the grief of the other girl and how the town reacts to it, and about the beauty of winter. So I thought it was really beautiful. I really liked that book, and I would highly recommend. This is also a classic, a modern classic, and it's so short but beautiful. The next country I've read from is Poland, and it was my last book of last year, and I adore this. It's Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, and I adore these editions. I really like the blue covers. So it's about this woman, and she lives in a town where only 3 or 4 people live there throughout the whole year. The rest of the people go there only in the summer because the winter is not nice there. It's unlivable almost. And one by one, people are starting to drop to the ground. And she says the deer are behind it. She knows, but so does everyone know, because everywhere are deer prints. And it's so interesting. I really liked this deer aspect in here. I really liked the main character because she was so funny. She's obsessed with astrology, and she will take everything to talk about astrology, to read birth charts, to draw connections with birth charts and how people are where there are no connection at all. I thought it was great and I would really recommend. I know she has some other books published and one is coming up, so I would love to read that as well. And also, if you happen to know any other recommendations, please let me know so I can read more books. The next country on my list has one of my favorite books I've read since restarting my reading journey, because I took a break for a couple of years, but I love reading all my life. So the country I'm talking about is Russia, and the book I'm talking about is Anna Karenina. So I heard so many great things about it, but I was so daunted. So I finally got this book for my birthday. I asked it and it was so big. I got this beautiful penguin classic black spine. Those are my favorite types for classics. And I put it off for so long. So then 2023 came around and I thought, okay, I will start my year with a Russian classic. And it was amazing. I had the best time ever. I learned so much from this book. I learned so much about Russian culture, about the history, and I really liked the aspect of following multiple main characters. And it wasn't just about this one main character. It was about the whole picture, and I love this. I am, however, still reading War and Peace, or I took a break for a couple of months. I don't love it as much as I do love Anna Karenina. I just couldn't get into the story, but maybe that's on me. I think I need to watch perhaps the BBC adaptation, the miniseries, but I don't love it as much. Other Russian lit recommendations I have for you are How Much Land Does a Man Need? It was fun, short, easy. I read it in one night. Perfect. I also read the other story in one night. It was so fun, quick, easy read. Also by Leo Tolstoy. And then I have a couple on my radar that I really want to read. First Love by Turgenev, if I think that's how you pronounce it. Then I have The Idiot by Dostoevsky. I'm really intrigued by his works. However, I don't think Crime and Punishment will be for me, but the Brothers Karamazov perhaps will be. But The Idiot, I got this copy, also in the English, Black Spine, and I'm excited to read that. So that is for Russia, what I read and what I want to read. The next and last country on my list that I've read from around the world is Scotland. And I read Waverly. This is a classic novel. It's about this boy and it follows him throughout the war. So much about the Scottish Highlands, about the culture, about the history, and it was so interesting. And maybe it was because I read and watched The Outlander, but I could see it so vividly in my head. I could see it like a movie. I loved that aspect, and everything was described so gorgeously and really into detail, and I really liked that. I don't know how to really explain the story else, but it was about the war in Scotland with the English, and it was just really interesting and I had a great time reading. So these were the 11 countries I read from so far. I want to continue this journey. I want to make this into a series. So please let me know if you have any book recommendations from countries I haven't read from, or maybe perhaps from countries I've already read from. I would love to hear your book recommendations. In the next episode of this series, I will discuss my TBR. I think I will do this per continent because that will make it very organized Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing and maybe give this video a like and a comment. I would love to hear your other book recommendations, and I see you in the next one. Bye!